So this is a video that I've actually been putting off for a while. Not because I don't want to do the video, because I've been struggling with trying to find the words for everybody. So we're celebrating our Independence Day today, and for me, I'm also celebrating friends and family. I know that that is more of a Thanksgiving thing, but for some reason it seems very fitting at this particular moment in my life. This video is basically for a whole bunch of people that have stood behind me through thick and thin. This has been the most trying time of my entire life this past year. We've had all kinds of events happen, and I'm not going to get into all that, but quite frankly, we've had a very, very rough time this last year. And like I said, if not for friends and family, I'm not entirely sure if I would still have my sanity at this point. So it's just the way it is. Life is going to get us down. You know, this is not going to be the only time that life craps on me or my family. It's just not going to be. It's just the way it is. It's just a matter of how we approach it and how we get through it that matters. Oftentimes I've actually talked to some of my closest friends, and I've told them that in many ways I feel like I have let the community down this year with not being on YouTube as much, with not being able to participate in the Facebook group and everything. And it's simply because I got myself into a very large hole. My leather work and everything became very popular very fast, and trying to tell everyone how long something's going to take to build is very difficult at times. Sometimes you might think something's going to take 2 days, and then you find out that it takes 5 days. So you can see how quickly your backlogs and everything else can get away from you. And then when you take on, an apprentice or something along those lines, you think in your mind, okay, this is going to speed things up, but in all reality, it slows things down tenfold, because now you're having to actually train someone, and so you're doing your job and you're doing theirs. That's just the nature of it. So, like I said, I've talked to many of my friends, and in many ways felt like I have let the community down. But the more the community reaches out to me, I've found out that that's just not the case. And it's just, again, trying to find the words. It's funny because a lot of people, including myself, when I first started YouTube, I thought, I'm never going to meet anyone that I will legitimately call my friend someday from YouTube or from Facebook or something along those lines. That is so far from the truth. I have met several just amazing people that I have spent time with. I've spent time with their families. I've spent time around the campfire, camping, hiking with these people, and you form really strong relationships with them because you find out that they are so like-minded and you think so much the same that it's so easy for them to become more than friends. Oftentimes they become family. And with several of these people, that's exactly what it was. I have to laugh at this because I ship everywhere across the world except for China. One of my most popular places to ship is the UK, and I love shipping things to the UK. Everyone that I deal with is just always so polite and such a pleasure to speak with and talk to. One of the gentlemen that's there, he goes by the name of Yancy on Facebook. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Well, me and this gentleman, we've talked over the years, and he's become a good friend. I do hope that someday we get to shake hands and actually talk in person. But until then, it is what it is. He actually solicited me to make a Leatherman pouch. Shared the photos with him and everything else. He requested that I Skype with him, and so I got on Skype, and I'm sitting here and I'm showing it to him, this and that. Here's your pouch and everything. And then he tells me, well, Justin, that's actually for you. And I was like, what are you talking about? I made this for you. And he goes, no. He said, you've always mentioned that the shoemaker always has the worst pair of shoes. He goes, I wanted you to have a nice pair. He knew that my EDC multi-tool was the Leatherman 300. And so that's what he had me make, was a pouch for my Leatherman 300. So obviously I was blown away. And like I've said, trying to find the words to describe how much it means to me and how much I appreciate it is very hard. The nice thing about this is I get to test my own products. You know, this is something that's been on my hip every single day since then. And it's been over a month now, and there is zero wear and tear on this thing at all. And that's good, because that's how I design my products, guys. I design my products to be able to hold a longer lasting new look, because they are designed to look used from the beginning, if that makes any sense at all. If you really look at the photos, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I distress everything, and then go back and make it look pretty. So this thing still looks like it's brand new, even though it's been on my hip every single day for a month. Now, something that I will point out is, going into the future with some of my products, you're going to see me start incorporating a lot of Victorinox items, like this Swiss Champ here. I believe that the Victorinox items are the superior multi-tool for wood and camp craft. Most of us actually get Leathermans and everything else because in our normal everyday lives, maybe we're a fabricator or something like that, so we require a little bit more heavier duty pliers than what's going to come on one of these. You know, a set of pliers like this is just never going to hold up when it comes to fabricating or something along those lines, or modern work. But you put something like this out in camp craft environment, and it's going to shine, because you've got things on here for everything. You've got magnifying glasses, you've got scissors, you've got saws, you've got awls, you've got knives, you've got tweezers, you've got needles, you've got, you name it, you've got it. And you're just not ever going to find that with any Leatherman. And like I said, being able to use a heavy-duty pair of pliers out in the woods, I've never had to use them yet. Not saying that I wouldn't, but I've never had to use them yet. So if I did have to use them, I truly believe that just a regular pair of pliers that come on the Victorinox is going to suffice perfectly. And the great thing about the Swiss Champ is it fits in that pouch that I made perfectly. So, digging it. Something else is that this year's Wolf Customs gathering got an opportunity to meet a lot of new people, new faces, and one of the gentlemen that I got to meet, Rocky Hollow, he actually had a titanium steel striker, and I didn't even know that, you know, titanium would throw sparks and everything. I mean, I should have, but I just didn't. You know, these are things that we learn as we go. None of us are experts, right? So he introduced me to this right here. This is a titanium striker. I'm actually going to do a video on this in the future. I can tell you right away that these are harder to use. They do require your flint or chert to be extremely sharp. But when they throw sparks, holy crap, man. I mean, you can throw it right here, and it's going to fall onto the ground and still crackle in many ways like a ferro rod. So they throw hot sparks. Now, I have a lot of flint and steel videos, and a lot of people will always ask me questions like, will flash tinder take with a steel striker? And my answer is no, they don't. You can take cotton fluff and all that stuff all day long, cotton balls, blah blah blah, and with a regular steel striker, you're not going to get a flame. The sparks just are not hot enough. I have seen that done with this. Larry Roberts has the exact same striker, and he made a very quick video showing just that, and that's pretty cool. I definitely dig that, so I'm looking forward to making that video. So I mentioned the friends and everyone that we meet along our journey when it comes to YouTube and Facebook, and one of the families that I have met, I'm not going to use their last names, but Ben and Aaron, you guys know who you are. I first met them, I think, 3 years ago. Travis introduced me to them at a Kansas meetup. And there was something about Ben that I liked right away. He is just an amazing man to talk to. He's such a good guy. And like I said, you instantly know this is a guy that I want to associate with. This is a guy that I want to be able to shake hands with, share a campfire with, and ultimately share my family with. And speaking of family, his family is amazing. Love him to death. They recently invited us out to a camp out at their place. Beautiful place. I love it out there. You know, their gardens and their fruit trees and everything else. It's just a really, really nice setup, and it was just a pleasure being able to go out there and spend some time with them. But there was one particular moment when we were there. Ben was getting ready to, well, he had just sparked up a fire. And by sparking it up, I mean that he had a weed torch. It was great. It just set the mood. It was awesome. But you know, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I noticed 2 camcorders just went onto me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm getting ready to get punked or something." I'm thinking Ashton Kutcher's going to jump out of the freaking woods or something, and yeah, I thought some sort of prank was about to happen. But there wasn't a prank. What happened was, you know, Ben surprised me. He had been talking with the community and everything else, and they decided to go in on some gifts to show their appreciation towards me and to the things that I do apparently for the community. I try to do a lot for the community. I don't get on Facebook and I don't publicly state what I do because I don't do it for the publicity of doing it. I just do it because I feel it's the right thing to do. Well, before I talk about Ben and his family, while we were there, Travis was there also, and Travis helped me pick out a really good hiking tent. You know, something that's lightweight and that's going to serve me for years and years and years. So I finally pulled the trigger on an REI tent. Well, I didn't buy the footprint. I knew I should have, but when you're on a budget, a $20 footprint can make or break you. So I did not buy the footprint, and I was going to go back and get it at a later date. Oh, Travis. He surprised me with the footprint. He didn't have to do that, but he did. You know, that's what this video is about. Is these people, they give, and they're not giving because they want anything. They're giving because they appreciate you, and they just want to tell you. You know. But anyway, I greatly appreciate this. This is going to make all the difference in making sure that tent lasts me years and years and years to come. So, love it. Now, going back to Ben and his family, the first thing that he presented me with was this here, okay? And what this is it is a leather case that holds this big giant Fresnel lens. This comes out of a projector, and when there's a nice sunny day like unlike today, you put the beam on your tinder and it just goes up just like that. There's no nursing it. There's no, oh, let's wait for the ember to form and then let's blow it till that. There's none of that. You put this on it and it's just instant flame. It's absolutely amazing. And the fact that this thing is small and very thin and flat means that you can, now they kept it in, they made this little pouch for obvious reasons. You don't want the sun to be hitting this without it being protected by something. So they put it in here. And the thing is you can put this on the back side of your backpack where you might store your maps or something along those lines. And you're never even going to notice that. Weighs nothing, takes up no space, you know, and obviously. Now, it was funny because one of the things they mentioned was the leather pouch. They said, well, it's not Wolf Customs quality, but it's, you know, it is what it is. And I think I love it. I love it. I would never critique somebody that took the initiative to make me something like this. In my eyes, this is absolutely beautiful, and I love it to death. So after they presented me with that, I thought that that was the gift, you know, and I was just ecstatic. I was blown away, and I thought it was great. And then they presented me with one more item, and this is it right here. Opened up that box, and inside was a dark timber knife from Peter. And this is my first dark timber knife. I've handled several of his dark timber knives. In fact, one of my past videos, the very first knife I handled after cutting my finger was a dark timber, and it was the very first sheath that I had made since after that injury, and that video was called Out of the Darkness. Now, later, after talking to Peter a little bit about this knife here, we got into a discussion about that knife, and we have a very similar story. That knife and that rig, you know, that rig has such a deep meaning for me because of this, and the knife has a very deep meaning to Peter because also from an injury that he sustained. We both had very similar, not similar injuries. His injury was way more severe than mine. His was actually life-threatening. But whereas mine, it was one of those, it's just a finger, you know, I can obviously stop the bleeding there. But just listening to his story, it touched me deeply, what he went through, and then what he went through making that knife. And then so knowing everything that he went through to make that knife, and then everything that I went through to make the sheath, man, that's going to stay with me forever. And Jack, he's the owner of that knife and that sheath. If you ever decide to get rid of that sheath and that knife for any reason, please give me a call, because I will do whatever it takes to get that item off of your hands because of the deep meaning behind it. But I don't think that Jack would ever let that go, because in many ways he knows exactly what kind of meaning is behind that item. But I'm just going to throw that out there anyway. One of the funny thing is though, also when I was talking to Peter about this knife, is he was sitting there and he was like, man, he was like, here I am making an artist a piece of my art, and the art that I'm making is the smallest knife that I make and the worst knife that I make. You know, that's what he was saying to me. And I'm looking at this knife and I'm like, Peter, you're a crazy man. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. And I look at this and I see it, man. I see you, I see your work, and I'm just absolutely freaking blown away. I love it. Most of you people know that I also dabble with making knives, and when it comes to being able to make knives, I aspire to be like a couple people. A couple knife makers I truly admire, and Peter is right up there. Him and Joe Honeycutt, I love their work. I absolutely love it. I stand behind it 100%, and that's what I inspire. I inspire to be that good someday with my knives. Just got a long ways to go. So we recently went to Seattle on vacation, and that's the first vacation that we've had in a very, very long time. We actually went to celebrate my niece getting married, which it was very strange watching my little niece grow up to where she's taller than I am and getting married. It was just a very emotional wedding. I mean, let's just be honest. It was great. I loved it. I wish her and her husband nothing but the best, and I think they're going to have a very happy life together. Right before I left on that particular trip, though, I received a package in the mail from another leather worker by the name of Donald Gamber. And I have seen Donald's work, and I love Donald's work. I'll Facebook stalk the crap out of him. If I see that he's made up another item, I'm looking at it, I'm taking notes, and I'm like, yeah, I like this guy. because, you know, I specialize in veg tan. But for the past couple of years, I've been expanding out into soft leather. I'm very pleased with my soft leather. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's very beautiful and 100% functional. But just like everything else, we learn as we go. I'll put my veg tan work, my sheaths and stuff up against anybody in the world. I'll put them up against anyone. But my soft leather, you know, I've got a ways to go. And Donald contacted me and he wanted to make me something. Now, I've talked with Donald in the past, but I've never really talked to him in great depth. I would not say that, oh, we were great friends or anything along those lines. And after I talked with him, I got the sense that he wanted to make me something, not because he wanted, you know, me to make a video or anything like that. I got the impression that this man wanted to make me something so I could hold it and look at it and be like, I'm going to try this. Look at this technique that he's doing here. I've got to try that. Ooh, I didn't think of this. You know, I think that he was trying to pass knowledge. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. So, this is what Donald sent me. This is a belt pouch made out of bison, if I remember correctly. Now, first thing you'll realize is my logo right here. He actually hand carved that out of moose antler. Isn't that awesome? Left my initials right there, of course. Love that. Now, the one thing that he did do that I wish he wouldn't have is he put his logo where it can't be seen. Man, I want to show everybody this logo. This is awesome work. I mean, amazing work. Beautiful. Love it. Love it to death. This is one of those, this is going to be a specialty, a special kit. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, you know, a fire kit or, you know, a first aid kit. I'm not sure yet, but to show Donald my appreciation for this item is what I'm going to do. Make sure my daughter isn't listening. Is my daughter's birthday is coming up, and she is at that age where she is starting to be able to appreciate things like this. So, is what I'm going to do is I've been just gawking at this. I've just been glaring and staring at it and taking notes and just everything. And it's what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a video for my daughter of me making her a purse for her birthday. And I'm going to take notes from this, and I'm going to apply things that I've learned just from looking at this and things that I've learned from talking to Donald about, and I'm going to make her that purse. The rest of the video is going to be specifically for my daughter. It is a video that I've been planning since she was a baby. Basically, it's going to be me talking to her in the future. I will give her that video when she turns 16, but not until then. So, you know, one of those moments where she's like, "Oh, Dad, Mom, you don't understand nothing, blah blah blah." I'll be like, "Kaylee, yes we do, baby. Watch this video." That's what I'm gonna do with the rest of that video. But Donald, this is, I mean, just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous work. I love everything about this thing. I'm sure that you guys will see this in many videos to come. You know, a lot of the other thing is this is the very first leather item that I'd ever received from another leather craftsman, and I think a lot of other leather craftsmen, they typically we might think of others as being our competition. I don't really look at it that way. I try to help up-and-comers as much as I can. You know, all boats rise, you know, with the tide. So I try not to harbor my knowledge, and I try to give it to others. There are obviously some shop secrets that I keep for myself, but I show the step and I try to encourage people how to do those steps. But if they just don't get it, I tell them anyway. And so don't ever, as a leatherman, a leather craftsman, if you ever have an item that you feel like you would like an opinion on, don't feel that you can't send it to me and have me look at it. And don't ever think that I'm going to get on Facebook or anything like that and be like, oh, such and such sucks. That's not me. I don't critique other people's items that way. Whereas I couldn't critique this anyway. This is beautiful. I mean, when I look at things like this, I'm looking for a single stitch out of place, because that's how I am. I don't want a single stitch out of place. Solid build. Solid build. You're the man, Donald. You're the man. So, coming out of, like I said, the worst year of my entire life, and just being bombarded with these gestures from people that I have and have not ever met in person, it goes a long ways. Because none of these came with a negative intent, you know. Sometimes I've been gifted things from people because I know that they want me to make a video review, or they're hoping that I will help get their name out or something like that. It comes with a hidden message. And those things don't bother me. I mean, obviously, if I can help get someone's name out, you know, more so than it is, I would love to help, you know, but I don't expect you guys to give me stuff. I don't expect that at all. And, you know, I would be more than happy to take a look at your items and then send them back as well, you know, because like I said, I'm not in this for gifts, and that's just not who I am. This was actually very overwhelming for me to receive this many gifts. This was literally all took place in about a week and a half. And that was very, very overwhelming for me, and it was a very emotional time. Ben and everybody else at the gathering actually made me cry a little bit, you know. I mean, that's just, call me a crybaby if you want, but, you know, it is what it is. Still can't find the words. That's my biggest problem, is trying to find the words to say thank you to everyone. I don't know how to do that. The only way I know how to do that is to keep on keeping on, you know. Things are starting to get better. The shop is starting to change in many ways. The new business motto is going to be going into effect soon. So I'm just going to have to accept the fact that finding the perfect words is just not going to happen. So all I can say to everyone out there that has contributed in any of this in any way, shape, or form, or anyone out there that has been nonstop encouraging, told me the things not to be so hard on myself. See, everyone has to remember that perception will become reality extremely fast. So if you perceive to yourself that you're letting people down, you know, because of one reason or the other, that becomes your reality. Or if, well, you get it. You get it. You don't need me to sit here and lecture you on that. So I'm just going to shut up now, and I'm going to go jump in the pool with my daughter. We're over here at Grandma's right now, celebrating Independence Day. So I'm going to strip down and go get in the pool and enjoy this hot, muggy, nasty Kansas weather. So everybody, thank you so much for all your words of encouragement, everything that you've done to lift me back up, lift my spirits up. It means the world to me. And I am going to, I'm not only going to bounce back, I'm going to bounce back with a lot of great things. I'm going to try to do things for this community that were impossible in the past. I have a lot of goals in store. So anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed actually making this video. Even though I was not looking forward to it, I actually find now that I could talk for hours on all this stuff, and everybody in my group and everybody on YouTube. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.